Good evening. I'm Rick Dancer, and we have a jam-packed show for you tonight. All kinds of information to tell you about. We've got Alan Thayer coming on to talk about the latest with the mandates and the 100 businesses, 100 and over. I've got a gentleman coming on to talk about he lost his job because of the mandates. And then we got Lonnie, who's going to round out the night from Transworld Business Advisors and kind of give us some hope and show us some stuff that you guys can be dreaming about that you want to do in the future and how easy it really is to do that. First, what I want to do, though, is tell you we have a couple of contests going on. One of them, we're looking for someone who it's called Dr. Bratlin with Chris Dental. He sponsors our news blog, and Bill London will be here in just a minute. But Dr. Bratlin wants to give away a tooth. So he's a dentist. What do you want for Christmas? All you want for Christmas is a new front tooth. So it can't be one that's like gone and needs a root canal. It has to be one that's cracked or damaged or something. He's going to give you a replacement. All we need you to do is take a picture of it. I got to see the whole tooth, and then send it to me, rick@rickdancer.com. My email's on this screen up here. And then we will enter you in that contest for Chris Dental Family Dentistry, and they're going to give you a new tooth. We've already got like 10 of them, but we're trying to get just the right story, the right place, the right thing. So that's one thing going on. Also, Derek Roser with Roser Realty has this crazy idea that he'd like to give away a $200 turkey dinner for someone in need. So here's what I need you guys to do. On the screen that's ticking by, there's a phone number that they have, and you text on that number, nominate to, and the number is 541-316-8646, and you'll see it on the end here. You text that number, and then you nominate a family and tell us why they deserve to have this, or you think that they need this. And next Monday, we're going to announce a $200 turkey dinner for the family that we select out of all the nominations you give. So again, it's nominate. You text that to 541-316-8646, and that's for Derek Roser with Roser Realty. That's what they're going to do. Now it's time for the open. Up with this. That's what I don't understand.
From the 1120 AM and 93.7 FM KPNW studios, I'm Bill London. And
look at you.
Sarah, look at that introduction. Isn't Rick such a charmer?
Bring the lion out. We had a sketch artist do a drawing.
Tonight on our show, we're going to have...
Music therapy has been shown to relieve...
It's time now for Rick.
Hey guys, don't you think it's kind of fun that you get to comment on the news? There's a cost. Oh yeah, there's a cost. People come after you. I think that's why this is so much fun.
Now it's time to get real. Now it's time to get real. I mean really real. It's a big dose of really real with Rick.
I'll see you at 5.
Good evening from the News Radio 1120 AM and 93.7 FM KPNW studios. I'm Sven. I'm Bill. All right, so here's a look at some of the stories we're following tonight. You probably have heard that a panel of judges on the Fifth Circuit Court of Appeals doubled down on their decision to pause a federal vaccine mandate on businesses with over 100 employees. Well, a number of states, businesses, legal groups, and the like filed a lawsuit to halt the Biden administration's attempt to mandate vaccines on businesses with 100 or more workers. And the court said the rule instituted through the Labor Department grossly exceeds OSHA's statutory authority. Now, that opinion was written by 3 judges, Judge Stuart Engelhardt, Edith Jones, and Judge Stuart Duncan. In the order, the 3-panel judge from the Fifth Circuit had really 6 main points, and I'll try to run through them quickly. The mandate threatens to substantially burden the liberty interests of reluctant individual recipients to put a choice between their jobs and the jab. That was the first. Next, they said the mandate's stated impetus, a purported emergency that the entire globe has now endured for 2 years, and which OSHA itself spent nearly 2 months responding to, is, in their words, unavailing as well. They also said it's critical to note that the mandate makes no serious attempt to explain why OSHA and the president himself were against vaccine mandates before they were for one here. They further wrote, OSHA's attempt to shoehorn an airborne virus that is both widely present in society and thus not particular to any workforce and non-life-threatening to a vast majority of employees into a neighboring phase connoting toxicity and poisonous is yet another transparent stretch. They also went on to say that health agencies do not make housing policy and occupational safety administrations do not make health policy. And their final main point was the petitioner's motion for a stay pending review is granted. They say enforcement of the OSHA COVID-19 vaccine and testing emergency temporary standing remains stayed pending adequate judicial review of the petitioner's underlying motions for a permanent injunction. In addition, they say, quote, it's further ordered that OSHA take no steps to implement or enforce the mandate until further court order. So the court essentially halted the policy, scheduled to take effect January 4th, and ordered OSHA, don't do any more. It really, though, at this point is not clear whether the Fifth Circuit will actually determine the fate of the mandate. The Biden administration had asked that the Fifth hold off ruling until a judicial lottery could take place to consolidate a number of challenges to mandate before a single appeals court. Likely, this is going to see its way in front of the Supreme Court. Now, speaking of mandates, Governor Kate Brown's mask mandate is coming under fire, and not just from libertarians, but from, well, health experts. They said at one point, Governor Kate Brown set a certain set of metrics where the state could open up again, which was 70% of the populous adults received the vaccine. Well, then, after opening up about a month later, everybody was back wearing masks indoors and out. And at this point, no one is saying from the Oregon Health Authority when that is going to end. As a matter of fact, state epidemiologist Dean Seidlinger said in a statement, it's difficult to come up with specific metrics because the virus is unpredictable. Oh, well, thanks for getting specific. But a number of outside experts are disagreeing with this particular strategy. Like, for instance, Dr. Monica Gamby. She's an infectious disease doctor and professor of medicine at the University of California. And she says she thinks it's a mistake that Oregon doesn't have metrics regarding the masks. Now, she specializes in HIV, and she was there at the beginning of the HIV crisis. And she said she saw how missteps and a loss of trust hurt the effort to fight the disease in the early days, and she likens that to now. Gandhi says that a lack of metrics now with COVID-19 mandates actually threatens the public's trust. She says, I'm worried that it looks like restrictions without clean, data-based metrics will cause more harm than good. Multnomah County Commissioner Sharon Murin is a medical doctor. She's worried about a lack of clear goals ending the restrictions and thinks the outdoor mandate requiring masks if you can't stay 6 feet away from somebody outdoors is, in her words, outlived its usefulness. And going further, Multnomah County's public health officer thinks it's important for the public to know what it's going to take to drop the mask mandate. She says, quote, I do worry about that because I think the public deserves to have a sense of where we are and where we're headed. That said, an Eastern Oregon school has been fined $11,000 for failing to uphold the state indoor mask mandate and other violations. That fine was levied by OSHA against the Adrian School District near the Idaho border. It has an elementary school and a high school and about 300 students. Aaron Corvin with OSHA says the inspection was done because of 3 complaints about a lack of mask usage. So they went out, said, yeah, looks like they're not wearing masks all the time. They saw 2 violations, actually, and they levied the fine. Corvin said that that is the largest penalty they've ever issued over COVID requirements to a school district. Now, the district's website does include a safe return to school plan saying that students and staff are required to wear school coverings. But that said, the school district, the Adrian School District, actually fired their superintendent, Kevin Purnell, after the school board told him to defy the governor's mask mandate, and he wouldn't do it. Well, the homeless may go hungry in the Oregon coastal town of Brookings after the city council prohibited churches from providing them with meals more than twice a week. So when the pandemic hit, St. Timothy's Episcopal Church began serving 4 hot meals a week to homeless people, and they received a permit to house people in their parking lot. But the disruptions in the neighborhood prompted complaints by a lot of neighbors, and they were complaining about crime, noise, trespassing, and litter. They submitted a petition seeking an end to the church's services to the homeless. And in response to the petition, the Brookings City Council unanimously passed an ordinance limiting the servicing of charitable meals twice a week. All of the churches are located in residential neighborhoods rather than commercial districts where a licensed restaurant, which they have to be licensed to do this, they could operate without limitations in a commercial district, but in a neighborhood, no. That said, Reverend Bernie Lindley said St. Timothy's will continue serving free meals despite the ruling as petitioners express their religion by feeding people. In other words, we'll see you in court. All right, well, this look at the news brought to you by Dr. Michael Brotland of Chris Dental. And now it's time to get real, really real with Real Rick.
You know, I don't know if it's just news or entertainment or what, but I love Schvinn. I really like that on my show, he's Schvinn. And in the morning, he's Bill London on KPNW. You know, it just keeps it kind of crazy.
You got to love Bill.
You have to. Because what else can you do?
Tell Bill that I said that he needs to wear his mask for one of these newscasts, and he'll know which mask I'm referring to.
Okay, I'll ask him to do that. So, Alan, his first story about the mandates or the court orders, tell people what that means, because Bill was giving us his ideas, but what does that really mean? Is that good news? Is it not good news?
So before I do that, can I do a shout out to Chris Dental? I think that is an outstanding thing that they are doing for someone with dental needs. So that is such a heartwarming story. That good on them.
Yeah, I think it's going to be great because, I mean, imagine someone, if you don't have a tooth or you have things, I know people that don't, and they don't smile and they cover their mouth and they're not open to being able to talk. So if we can fix that for somebody, that's going to be a really awesome thing for the holidays.
Life-changing. That's tremendous.
All right. Now, your opinion on the court.
Yeah, this is really interesting. So the way it works, and Bill talked a little bit about the lottery. So I want to talk about the lottery, then go back to what the Fifth Circuit has done. Okay. So we have 12 federal circuit courts of appeals, 11 circuits, and then there's a federal district court in DC where certain federal cases are held, patent appeals, for example, and other specialty appeals. And the governors who opposed the OSHA vaccine mandate filed appeals in those circuits where there was a majority of Republican appointed judges over Democrat appointed judges.
Okay.
And then labor unions have filed a number of appeals in those circuits where there's a majority of Democrat appointed judges. Now, the rule is that when there are appeals pending in multiple circuits, there is a lottery and one circuit is picked to hear all of the cases. And then within the circuit, there is a lottery to determine which judges will hear the appeal. And I think these are 3-judge panels. So if you're drawing from a circuit, then it's nice to have a majority of judges that you think would be predisposed to your side. And so now everyone is in the act, and one judge will hear all these cases. Well, the Fifth Circuit decided, hey, we feel strongly about this, so we want to get out in front of it. So November 4th, which was a Thursday, the rule was published. And the very next day, documents were filed in the Fifth Circuit, and a temporary injunction was issued. And so a temporary injunction is an immediate action until the other side has a chance to file their documents and tell the court what they believe. And then after that, there is a preliminary injunction from the time until a final ruling is issued by the court. And that was that preliminary injunction was issued by the Fifth Circuit on Friday. Now, why would the Fifth Circuit do that if this is all going to some other circuit anyway? Well,
Right.
Here's why. Here's why. Whichever circuit is picked to hear it, and it could be the Fifth, they've got a 1 out of 12 chance of being picked. But whatever circuit hears it is going to have to allow time for all the parties to brief and to make their arguments and advise the court. And now we have lots and lots of appeals, lots and lots of parties. This all is going to take some time. And meanwhile, while all that's going on, the Fifth Circuit Court, presumably the Fifth Circuit Court of Appeals injunction is going to stay in place until after everyone has a chance to be heard. So it's really creating some chaos within the court, and it's chaos which will result in the mandate hopefully being enjoined at least until there is a final ruling in the case. Does that make sense?
Yeah, so that could be after that January 4th deadline, more than likely, because the way things happen.
Well, I don't think it's going to go that long, but I think everyone talks about the January 4th deadline, but they're looking at the wrong target.
Because the December one is really the date, right?
December 5th is when a whole host of rules kick in for employers. There are some things that must be done before December 5th, and there are some things that they must start doing on December 5th, between December 5th and January 4th. And so
you have to prepare as if this is going to happen, or you're going to be scrambling.
Yes, and there are certain things that businesses need to do. We're actually working on a video for businesses to discuss what they should be doing now, even though the mandate is enjoined. And one thing that is going to be really difficult for most businesses is most businesses have not had to deal with religious accommodation requests, or they've been pretty simple religious accommodation requests. Can I wear a crucifix? Can I wear a burqa? Can I wear a yarmulke? Those sorts of cases, or I need Friday off because in my faith that's when the Sabbath begins. Those sorts of questions. Well, this is going to be more involved and more intense. And I can tell you with those businesses that have imposed vaccine mandates already, many of them have gotten it wrong, and they could be liable for failing to comply with Title VII of the Civil Rights Act of 1964. So we are going to cover this, and we're going to talk about Equal Employment Opportunity Commission guidances for employers and what they need to do. And I actually hope to be able to distill all this into a checklist for employers. But this is in progress. These are the things we're working on right now to try to help serve businesses.
Okay, so that'll be available soon, we hope, so people could come on and
soon. I promise I'll let you know.
Okay, so you let me know, and then I'll let the audience know what's going to go on. Okay.
Great.
So can you hang in there for a few minutes, because our next guest, if you wave, if we need to bring you in just for a couple seconds.
Happy to. Okay. Hey, your next guest is a great guy.
He is a great guy. So, okay. So that's Alan Thayer. That all worked out really nice. You guys got to meet my friend, Matt. Hey, Matt.
Hey, how's it going? I'm doing all right. How you doing?
I'm doing well. So you're a brave man. You are a very brave man to come on here. So
times like this, you have to speak up because things that are happening are wrong. Absolutely wrong.
What has happened to you? What are you speaking up about?
Well, I'm speaking up because my employer has forced me onto unpaid leave over the vaccine mandate. I did apply for a religious accommodation, or I should say I notified them of my need for a religious accommodation. Then after that, I went through a couple weeks of harassment over my they wanted to challenge my beliefs. They wanted to sit in judgment of them and ask me, and they wanted me to sign on their paper that said that I allowed them to decide whether my beliefs qualify or not.
What, so what did they like? What did they want to know, ask you about?
They wanted me to explain everything. And my stance is that, it's not constitutional. Under Section 6, Chapter 3 of the Constitution, I shall not be subject to a religious test, and I shall not be subject to that by my employer or anyone. I can explain to them how, like Alan said, if my religion requires I need a Friday off, I can tell them that, if I need to not receive this vaccination because of my beliefs, that's what I told them. And they wanted me to explain that. And I told them, you don't have a right to ask me that, and I won't do it. At that point, they threatened my employment. They threatened to withhold my earned income, my earned time off, and not to pay that out. At that point, I had notified them that, oh, and by the way, I had sent this to Human Resources, and then from there, I haven't heard a word from Human Resources. Everything's come from the executive director. And as far as I feel that's just been a pure attempt at intimidating me into just, coercion into compliance.
Right. Because for you, and I think a lot of people who are doing this, it's really nobody's damn business what your religious belief is.
Well,
get the hell out of my way. I have my position, and it's none of your damn business.
And it's really interesting because I'm also, vice president of our workplace union. And so I was part of the bargaining sessions through all of this. And it's so interesting how we started out from a stance of, my employer saying like, this is wrong. We don't want to do this. Our hands are tied by this rule. And then so quickly it went to the far extreme of not working together with me, not working in a collaborative manner to make an individualized assessment required by the Civil Rights Act, as Alan was just saying. Title VII of the Civil Rights Act means that they have to work in a collaborative manner to find a mutually agreeable individualized assessment. And so they wouldn't do that. I mean, it was their way or the highway.
So did your union? So you're the president of your union for your group.
Vice president.
But the union didn't back you at all.
No, the union was definitely in the pockets of the Democrats here right now. The union didn't do anything to really help. And, it's really disappointing because I've been volunteering my time for 7 years now to work with the union and to create a workplace environment. And what's really concerning here is my workplace has gone 19 months into this pandemic, and we have had 0 cases of people supported who have tested positive. We have had 0 cases of workplace transmission. And to say that there's no way to accommodate me when we have a perfect track record of keeping people healthy and safe, it doesn't make sense to me.
And you also work, I'm just going to give a little hint out here, but you work with people with different abilities. So, and very closely with people with different abilities. And it's already an industry that is hard. You can't get very many people to work. It's really tough. You're really shorthanded right now. And this is not business-wise and humanity-wise. This is a really dumb thing to do.
Well, I've been doing this work 21 years. I've been with this agency for about 15 of those years. And it's just, we go through a 2-day training about every year, every other year on respecting people's rights to make their own medical choices, that we would never force a procedure or a medication on someone. It's been drilled into me as my whole job. My whole job has been drilled into me that this is not what we do. We do not force medications on people. People have a right to make their informed consent and their own choices. And this whole pandemic has created a situation in which people have lost all of their, belief system. They say they believe my body, my choice, but really people just stopped believing what they said they believed and jumped on the bandwagon of, tyranny or whatever you want to call it.
What scares you the most about this, Matt?
I have children. What scares me the most is that if I don't stand up and do something, that this will continue to grow out of control. I've got 2 kids and I've got a third on the way. And so what scares me is that if this continues in this direction, that I have no idea what the future will be like for my children. I mean, right now you just see that they just lowered the age of when it's okay to give the, I don't know what words we can use or not here. So you get
That
pulled
works.
out. But, you
That's
know,
good.
and if you look into it, Oregon State just lowered the age of consent to 15 without parental consent to get that vaccine. And so right now, children without parental consent can accept full liability. I mean, part of what I did is I went to all the pharmacies and I asked for their paperwork to see what I would have to sign to get it. And I would have to accept complete full liability for anything that would happen to me. When I asked my employer if they would be responsible or workers' comp would be responsible if something bad happened to me over this, I was told to get a lawyer. That's what I was told by my human resources is like, they won't answer if SAFE is going to cover me or not. It's all up to you, and you have to take this or get out. And so it scares me that 15-year-olds could sign on to this, that they can't drive a car and they can accept full liability without parental consent to get it. So, I mean, the direction we're moving really scares me.
So let me ask you one last thing. So what do you say to people that say, because and they haven't said this necessarily to you, but I've heard people say this out here in the public eye is, well, just do it, just get the shot, get it over with, and then you'll get your job and you can, protect your kids and all that kind of stuff. Just, come on, just do the smart thing.
Well, I say I've been going to work for 19 months and no one has gotten it. No one that I support has gotten sick. Everything we've done has been successful. This is unnecessary. I don't work in a COVID ward. I go into a home, we sanitize things. We've done amazing work at keeping people healthy and safe. And that was long before a vaccine ever existed. I say that people are allowed to their beliefs, and people, and Alan, I'm sure, can attest to this. Religious belief is broad. It includes your morals, your ethics, your matters of life, purpose, and death. It does not require you to be, beholden to a theistic God. And if you do, that's great. It's all about choice. I've said for years, my body, my choice. And I believe that to the inner part of my soul. I go through training every year to believe in my body, my choice. And that's how I've supported the people I've taken care of.
Does the inconsistency in Oregon right now just blow you away?
It does. I mean, I've considered myself a pretty liberal guy,
Dude.
And I cannot believe that, the direction that we've taken, and I know I don't have a whole lot of your time here, but what I do want to say is, your employers are required to make an individualized assessment. If you ask for an accommodation, they are required to make every reasonable attempt to accommodate you unless they can demonstrate a direct threat. No direct threat has been shown in my job. I've done great work at keeping people healthy and safe, and as far as I can tell, I know my rights have been violated in this. I have read the Civil Rights Act millions of times, and I can tell you right now that I know that my rights have been violated. And so, I'm dragging my union along to represent me. I filed my grievance against my agency. They had until today to respond to give me my job back, and I still haven't heard back. So we're going to arbitration from here. On top of that, I want to let everyone know you have 180 days from the day that you were laid off to file your complaints with BOLI, with the Bureau of Labor and Industries, and with the EEOC. And everyone should be doing that because they will investigate the claims, that led to you being put on unpaid leave. Everyone should be doing that because the investigation is free to you. And they'll investigate your employer. I know many people who have already won their investigation and found that their employer, as Alan just said, many employers are not doing this right. They are forcing people out and they're not following the laws. And, there's no doubt in my mind that the laws that are there to protect me have been violated.
So, Matt, the last thing I'm going to say to you, and I know you'll take this right because I love you dearly,
I love you too, man.
he's that we'll tell you in another life what's going on here, why I know him so well, but the best at what you do. But you're the kind of hippie that I came to Eugene and loved, because you're true to your cause. If you would have a bumper sticker that would say all these different things on it, but you were the kill your television, stop, you're like the original kill your television, don't trust authority,
Yep.
don't trust big pharma, don't trust your government. And now today, where have all the hippies gone?
Where have they gone? I don't know.
It's like, where have all the hippies gone? Following Kate along. I mean, it's like, where's the questions? And I'm so happy to have someone like you on here, because you really represent that value of asking questions and being tough and doing your homework and loving your family and all that kind of stuff. And I really admire you. And that's why I really wanted to have you on here tonight. And people, you're gonna have to go back and read these comments and comment, because people are just saying all kinds of nice stuff to you.
Well, I want to say the same to you, Rick. And, the one thing I can tell you is there's a lot of us out there, and there's been fear pummeled into people that they're afraid to tell each other that they agree. And the more and more people that are like, hey, I didn't do this either. It's like, me neither. It's community building. We are resistance, and we're growing strong.
I have a really good friend in the gay community, and she said, or the lesbian community, and I hope I'm not saying that wrong, but whatever. She is a dear friend, and she said to me, you know what, Rick, my friends and I are sitting here going, 10 and 15 years ago, we used to whisper about being lesbians the way that we now are whispering about not agreeing with the vax stuff. And she goes, and that scares the hell out of us, because we know the secrets. When you have to be secretive about stuff like that, she says, that's when it gets dirty and nasty, and it get clogged, and people make assumptions and that kind of thing. And she says, it's really concerning to me as a human being that we are not able to talk about this. And so hopefully you're getting a lot of hippie power on here.
Well, I just want to share my love. I want to share my love with everyone out there. And I know we can get through this. It takes standing up to say what's right and what's true to your heart. And I hope more people do that. And I thank you for bringing me on.
Matt, you are welcome. And thanks for coming on and being brave. You're a good man.
Absolutely. You too, Rick. Have a good one.
All right. Wow. That was awesome. I got my hippie Matt. Yeah, so good. I got my hippie on tonight. This is awesome. That's what we need to be doing, people, it's not about Republicans and Democrats and independents and not affiliated voters. It's about people. And it's like by dividing us and silencing us and covering our face up with these stupid ass masks, it's keeping us from connecting with each other. And I think that's what they want. And I'm not going to give it to them. So you're not alone. Matt said it. You're not alone out there. There's a bunch of us out here who are asking questions, and we're not afraid. And that's the only way that this is going to change. Oh, God, I feel better. Man, Lonnie, this is Lonnie Woodruff. You sponsored a great show tonight. We can do stuff like this because of people like you who sponsor our shows and what we do. Dr. Bratlin and Roser Realty, all the other folks that we have. Oh, and just so I'm going to give myself a plug real fast. So you guys, we do have a package, different packages available. If you do want to become a sponsor, keep us on the air. I feel like I'm OPB, don't I? Dial now, call Rick and I have a saleswoman working for me. We've got a staff of people. We want to get the messages out, and we want to continue to do this. And Lonnie is one of the reasons we do that. I think someone related to you has been commenting a lot on here. I just have a few.
I saw that. I don't think we're actually related, but we share the same last name.
You better find out who that is. So, you guys, Lonnie's here to give you some hope. I'll let you tell me. Transworld Business Advisor. There are ways that you can use your 401k and other investment stuff to buy your own business. So if you're in a place like Matt and you're going, God, what the hell do I do? Lonnie's here to talk with you a little bit and about what you can do. And there are ways, and that's what you do as a specialty, right, Lonnie?
Well, no, I'm actually a business broker. So a Rob's program, or whether you use a 401k or any kind of retirement program to buy a business, is one of the tools we have in our tool belt. But mostly, I'm like a real estate agent for businesses. I buy and sell existing businesses. So and it's right now is a pretty good time to be on either side. It's interesting times we're living in. We have a aging population that's retiring. There's a lot of good businesses that are available for sale. I have a ton of opportunities right now. Workplace environments are getting, irritating to say the least. I worked in the corporate world for a long time, and that was just miserable. So I was kind of on the fence. Then now I do this. And for those who are on the fence and want to build their own empire, be their own boss, there's hope. And it's actually a lot easier than you think. You can actually use the Rob's program. You can use a home equity line of credit. There's SBA financing. There's all sorts of resources. Most business sales come with some form of training. If you're interested in a business that maybe you don't know that industry, we can kind of work that out. There's a lot of things to navigate, but it's a lot easier than you think.
So Lonnie, but you help steer people to those 401k plans. So you get the business, you have a bunch of people that come to you, and maybe like someone like I'm 62 and I say, you know what, I'm kind of done with this. I want to sell Rick Dancer Media Services, blah, 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 blah. You and I connect, about that. Somebody else out there says, Rick's already got a built-in audience. I want to buy this from him. And then you work out programs, I train them, you kind of figure out how that works. You help sell it because you're the realtor for the business. And then you give them the finance. So you're like my realtor, pointing them to financing people that can go, here's your 401k, here's other sources. So, but you know how to get people from A to B.
Yeah, I'm basically the matchmaker. Let's say you want to sell your services. I go find you a buyer. Or let's say you're a buyer and you want XYZ Industries or something, a range of interest. I go try to find a match for that. So. And like the Rob's program or financing bankers, attorneys, I have a whole pile of trusted advisors in my corner to help navigate all parts of the process.
So what did you like about doing this so much? Because I would think you're right now, there's a lot of people like Matt and other friends that I have that are maybe afraid to dream. And now's the time to really do that. I mean, it's COVID's, all this is horrible, but it's like a breaking point too for people.
Yeah. I got into this pre-COVID, so I don't know. I absolutely love what I do. I help dreams come true, whether you're retiring and want to know what to do with your business and how to exit, or whether you're working in the corporate world like I was and want to build your own empire, because owning a business is not easy, but honestly, it's either is working in the corporate world, putting in those 6-7 days a week, the 80-hour weeks, might as well build your own empire. So,
well, and don't you find that people are also like, especially with like even the mandates, if you own your business and it's small, you can do some things that you can't do. If you work for a company, you go do this, go do that. This is what you have to do. And if you have your own company, you've got a lot more freedom. At least I can attest to that. I've got tons of freedom. I would never go back to the corporate world, but there was nobody around like you to give me advice on what I was looking for. I kind of just fell into it, and it took 10 years, and it doesn't have to be like that.
No, it doesn't. You can build your own business from scratch like you have, but it's easier to buy an existing business, especially if the owner's willing to train you to kind of do a handoff, and you take off running, and you're making money right out of the gate most of the time.
Well, we had a guy in a few weeks ago that you helped buy the bike shop, and he said he's working 3 times as many hours and he loves every minute of it because it's his business and he's helping people, not working for somebody else.
He loves it. There's so much more freedom to do anything and everything, and all your hard work goes into your wallet versus shareholders if you work for a publicly traded company or somebody else. It's nice to be in your own boss.
I so want to ask you, and I know you can't tell me. So who do you have who wants to sell their businesses? But see, that's why you need to meet with Lonnie, sit down, have coffee with him, and then tell him what you're interested in. And then there's some things you can't tell you, but there's some people. And if you have a business, here's the guy, he won't tell me anything. So he's very cool. He minds your rules, but,
Yeah, everything's very discretionary, very confidential. If you're a potential buyer, want to reach out to me. Nobody else will know. If you're a potential seller, reach out to me. Nobody else will know. We do things very discreetly. Like you look at my listings on Biz Buy Sell or our own website. There's no names attached to the business. That's very detrimental to the business. All I can say is that we have many listings. I have many listings across many industries. Some work with your hands, some not. I get e-commerce, construction businesses, motorcycle businesses, auto-related businesses. There's a ton of opportunities out there. Like wherever you are, you're not stuck. And if you're thinking about leaving the corporate environment, it's a lot easier than you think.
Now, what if somebody wants to relocate to Central Oregon or something like that? You have contacts and connections. You're part of that as well, right?
Yeah, absolutely. I actually have listings all over the state. There's other agents in our office. They have listings all over the state as well. So the most important thing that we do, and especially we or our office, is that we just want to help people. Let's say you're an existing business and you just got a question, want a direction on marketing or a better accountant or an attorney, just reach out. I'm just a huge small business advocate. That's what I am. And I'll try to point you in the right direction no matter what.
Well, Lonnie, I thank you for supporting my small business.
This is a great venue. This is a great venue.
You know, I tell you, our audience is getting bigger and bigger and bigger just because they love, adding Bill and Kim and all this, and having our investors come in and throw some money into this has really helped us out. And when we get to Montana, we're working with a guy right now, talking to him in Idaho. So we're going to start with maybe just once a month, a little bit of an Idaho report. And then once I get to Montana, I'm going to be doing Montana all over the place. So people are going to be seeing that all over. So just to give people a picture of a bigger world, it's a bigger world that we live in out there. So we'll see what happens.
Sounds pretty exciting.
Put your phone number on there so everybody knows what it is, 541-450-8839. And that's how you can call, go have coffee with Lonnie and just go have a dream session. It's a way, if you're losing your job right now and you're thinking this is not going to come back, this might be the answer for you.
Yeah. And I'll put in my email in the comments as well.
Okay. All right. Perfect. Lonnie, thank you. And again, thanks for supporting us.
Thank you so much.
All right. See you next month.
See you next month.
All right. So there you go, you guys. There's hope. I want to read something to you. I got something from Dave Chappelle today. Now, if you're not a Dave Chappelle fan, then too bad. But anyway, he was on, it was a show about all these inspiring things that he said. And he says, his mom always used to say to him, sometimes you have to be a lion to find the lamb you truly are. And I thought that was profound. And then he said this other thing that I thought was very cultural right now. He said, there's good and evil. And that if you know that and understand that there's good and there's bad, then that will provide a compass for you. And he says, what culture does right now, most culture, is they look at better or worse. And he says, when you're looking at better or worse, you're like living your life in a maze and all you're doing is trying to get to the cheese. You're very easy to control if you live from better to worse, because they know all they have to do is lead you to the cheese and you'll be fine. If you understand good and evil, we want out of the maze. We're not going to live our life in the maze. And to get out of the maze, you have to understand good and bad. You have to have a compass and you have to be willing to take a risk. What did you see tonight? People willing to take a risk. Matt, willing to risk his future because we have a compass. And Matt knows, and Lonnie knows this from working with people, that you will always rise back up. I can tell you from experience from the last 10 years, the more I stick my neck out, yeah, sometimes you get hurt. But you know what? I always come up with my head up because I understand there's good and there's evil. And I'm not going to stoop to the evil. I'm always going to lean to the good. Matt, I know you're still out there. I am so happy that you revived my Eugene hippie for me. We got to do a whole campaign on that. I think it would be bring back the true hippie spirit of Eugene and Oregon. No more of this bullshit. No more of this follow the leader. Let's go out and lead them, not have them lead us. I'm Rick Dancer. Thank you, Transworld Business Advisors, for sponsoring our show tonight. Thank you, Dr. Bratlin. Tomorrow, what are we doing tomorrow? Tomorrow, remember Tim Chewy from KVAL, the weather guy? Yeah, he's coming on. I called him up. He's doing weather on some radio stations in town. He's coming on. It's also our Elements of a Healthy Lifestyle. So Kim will be here to talk about some aspects of life that can keep you healthy. And I think that's it. That's what's coming up tomorrow night. And then on Thursday, we have New Leaf Hyperbarics. Matt's going to be here to talk about some new techniques that they're doing. And then I have something else that night, but I cannot remember what it is. And then on Thursday, we have Any Lab Tests Now, and they do COVID testing and things like that. We'll be filling in the blanks as well. So I'm Rick Dancer. Share this on your page. Let other people know what we do. Join me every night at 5, or you can check us out on YouTube. You can get us on Facebook. And tomorrow you can find this show on Instagram. All right. Have a good night and be brave. Be bold, be brave. Yeah. Remember, good, bad. That's what we got to remember. Good, bad, compass. Good, bad, compass. Good, bad, compass. Good, bad.